The DC Universe just got a whole lot bigger following its reconstruction at the end of Dark Knight's death metal, and such a big universe is going to need a big new team to help keep the peace. What'll happen next? Well, let's hop into the pages of Infinite Frontier issue number 1 and find out together, shall we? So then, this issue most certainly starts with a bang. Stop me if you've heard this one before, but a space pod falls to Earth somewhere in rural America, only there's not a small Kryptonian aboard the ship. Instead, there's a fully grown adult Batman, Thomas Wayne to be exact, the gun-toting Batman from Flashpoint. This isn't the main Earth either, he just so happened to fall on Earth 23, a home to President Superman Calvin Ellis, but more on that in a minute. From there, we actually head back on to Earth 0, aka the Prime Earth, aka the Earth where it all happens. Extant, an absolutely forgettable villain from Crisis' past, is using a fourth world artifact to try and usher in yet another crisis. Luckily, before he can do any real lasting damage though, he's stopped by the Totality, the brand new super group put together of heroes and villains from across the DC Multiverse. This is also one of those weird instances where the book is called Infinite Frontier, but the team is called the Totality, so the team we're actually following has a different name than the book we're reading. I always find it interesting when that happens. Now, as we discover from Alan Scott, the Green Lantern, the Totality has been put together for the sole purpose of helping make sure other Crisis-level events don't happen, like death metal that rip apart the entire universe. We also get to see Alan reconnect with his son Obsidian once again. And we continue to see the original Golden Age Green Lantern grow as a character, especially since he came out during the events of Infinite Frontier number 0, and continues to get development in books like DC Pride as well. Father and son have themselves a nice little conversation about how the world is changing so quickly around them, and while they would love to deal with their family issues, it just seems like there's never enough time. They're also supposed to meet Jade at an old JSA outpost, but when they get there, the whole building ends up blowing up in their face. From there, we transition on over to Paris, where Special Agent Cameron Chase is approached by Mr. Bones of the DEO, one of my absolutely favorite DC comic book characters just for how absolutely insane he is. As Bones explains, this death metal crisis is a lot different than ones that have preceded it. Mainly, your average rank-and-file Joe Schmo guy on the street is actually aware now that the universe got rebuilt, and that there's other versions of him that might exist on other worlds who might actually be doing better or worse than him. It's for all these reasons and more the DEO has been reactivated to try and keep some semblance of peace in this crazy new world order. Speaking of keeping the peace, Thomas Wayne ends up coming to at the Bleed, the home of the Justice League Incarnate, basically the original Multiversal Justice League. I remember when Infinite Frontier got pitched as a series, I asked the question, why do we need a multiversal team of DC heroes when we already have one in Justice League Incarnate? And I'm glad to see Joshua Williamson meeting this complaint at the pass. Flashpoint Batman is angry and confused, and I would be too if my last story was a Tom King story. Oh, Thomas wants to talk to Flash, the only person who could possibly understand what he's going through. The only problem is that President Superman has to ask, which Flash, which Barry Allen, which universe? It's a big old universe, don't you know? As we discover, Barry Allen is quite busy with his own work for the Totality. Essentially, he's using his ability to move between the universes, like the Flash of Two Worlds, probably the original DC Crisis, to try and map out this ever-growing list of alternate Earths. In fact, we get some wonderful little artistic shoutouts to other universes. Hey, there's the original Earth 2, there's the universe where they're all children, there's Red Sun and Kingdom Come, all the warriors are here. Barry is in fact so excited getting to map out all these different Earths, he doesn't actually wait for President Superman's backup to explore the final Earth, the strange Omega Earth that came about at the end of Death Metal. As the Flash quickly discovers, this is a dark, desolate place, and if that wasn't scary enough, the crime scene tech actually ends up coming upon a murder, the dead bodies of the Quintessence. Essentially, this universe's ruling body made up of some of the most powerful characters from across the DC universe. Whoever killed them must have been incredibly powerful. And while Barry doesn't come face to face with the new and improved, but technically old and classic Darkseid, instead he ends up coming face to face with one of his agents in an absolutely amazing piece of storytelling where the Flash shifts between a bunch of different art styles that he's had over the years. Now, who on Earth could possibly be responsible for all of this? What villain could have this much meta-savvy about the DC Universe? Well, you may be shocked to discover it's actually the return of the Psycho Pirate. For those who don't already know, this guy has a long, storied history with DC and their many crises. His gimmick is essentially he always knew what was going on, even when other people didn't, and now he's back with a brand new costume, and it looks like a brand new set of powers, too. Also, unlike Psycho Pirate's last appearance, I feel here he's going to be a real character and not just a silent storytelling device. But wait, we're not done yet. We still gotta check in with one last member of the team, and that would be Roy Harper, the former Speedy, Arsenal, and Red Arrow who returned to life following the end of death metal. Currently, Roy's been walking the highways and byways of America, still not exactly confident enough to get back in touch with his mentor Green Arrow, and seeing as Arrow doesn't have a book right now, I can't blame him. Roy overhears a bunch of regular people arguing in the diner what this new multiverse could mean for their lives, and of course because there's always one loud jag-off in a crowd who has to shoot off at the mouth about this all being a superhero conspiracy to keep us in line. Open your eyes, sheeple, there's no multiverse. Only to have the diner blown up by a bunch of Tron-looking foot soldiers and a new villain calling themselves Extract. They've come for Roy Harper, saying that this universe doesn't want him. Again, are they being literal or figurative at this point? I'd honestly believe either. Roy is gonna have a hard time fighting these guys off with all of their high-tech weaponry, but in the end, he doesn't have to, as some unseen force looks to aid him in the fight. When the dust settles, Roy looks down to realize that his life may very well have just changed forever. It seems that he just became some manner of Grey Lantern. In fact, his suit looks almost exactly like the one Psycho Pirate was wearing, and that emblem on his chest is the emblem of death just turned upside down. Also, it seems instead of summoning regular old Green Lantern constructs, Roy has the power to summon, well, ghostly versions of himself from throughout his career. And it's on that absolutely crazy note the comic comes to a close, everyone, and so that was Infinite Frontier issue number 1, and I will give Joshua Williamson this, he absolutely came out swinging in this first new issue. I wasn't sure what to expect from this book, and honestly, after reading issue 1, I'm still not entirely sure. I only know that everything is on the table, it would seem. The book does a good job opening people's eyes to the much bigger DC universe, whether you're a brand new comic book reader or an old comic book reader coming back and wanting to see some familiar faces again. Gotta give Williamson credit too for building on a lot of the unfinished work that was left behind in the wake of stuff he co-wrote, like The Button involving Psycho Pirate, The Flash, and even characters like Thomas Wayne too, who felt like they actually regressed as characters there in their last couple stories, but now Williamson is swooping on into saying, hey, we can save them, we can rehab them, we can clean house across the board even. I know when word got out that Roy Harper would end up getting some sort of powers, people were a little conflicted. I know I'm probably the biggest Green Arrow fan I know, and while I'm certainly conflicted, I'm interested to see where all of this goes, because it would seem that these new Grey Lantern powers are based around continuity and the multiverse, and who better to embody that than someone like Roy, who has had so many ups and downs and so many different versions of himself. If I were to sum up Infinite Frontier number 1 in a single word, I think that word would be excitement. There's a lot to get me excited about this book, and a lot that makes me want to come back and read issue 2. For all those reasons and more, I would give this one a very positive 8 out of 10. There's a lot of comic in this comic, and a lot that I think people are going to end up enjoying, and I hope it can keep this energy moving forward. Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel again, thanking you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not check out my Amazon link down in the description. Yes, that's right, the Cape Joel channel officially has its own Amazon storefront now. You can pick up a comic or anything else for that matter, and if you did, you'd really be helping me in the channel. So with that out of the way everyone, I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.